I, 31, had been dating Hannah, 29, for just over 2 years. When we first met, she swept me off my feet, confident, independent, sharp-witted. She had this magnetic energy that drew people in. I admired that about her, maybe even a little too much. Our relationship, though, wasn't exactly smooth sailing. She had a habit of constantly reminding me she was her own person, that nobody could tell her what to do. At first I thought it was harmless, a product of her strong personality. But over time, it started turning into open defiance. The small stuff didn't matter much. She'd insist on splitting every bill, even when I offered to treat. She'd refuse to coordinate plans until the last minute, because she didn't want to feel tied down. I shrugged it off. I wanted her to feel comfortable being herself, but then there were moments that stung. Like the time we were at a friend's wedding, and she joked to the table, "Don't get too attached to me. I could run off at any moment." Everyone laughed. I laughed too, but inside I wondered if there was some truth to it. The breaking point came one Friday night. We were at my apartment, just relaxing with takeout and Netflix. Out of nowhere, during a petty argument about me asking her to turn down the volume, she slammed her chopsticks on the table and declared, "I could leave you anytime. No one owns me." The room went quiet. My chest tightened, not out of fear that she might actually leave, but out of exhaustion. I'd been trying so hard to reassure her, to give her space, to let her know she wasn't trapped. But she kept turning everything into a test of independence. I looked at her calmly and replied, "I would never try to." She smirked, thinking she'd won the argument. But in that moment, something clicked inside me. If she wanted freedom so badly, maybe it was time I stopped holding the door shut. When she went to shower, I grabbed a couple of duffel bags from the closet. I started folding her clothes, carefully placing them inside. Her favorite hoodie, her work blouses, even the pair of sneakers she always left by the door. By the time she stepped back into the living room in her towel, I had both bags packed and zipped. I picked up my phone, pulled up the Uber app, and ordered her a ride. "What? What are you doing?" she asked, her voice shaky now. "Helping you embrace your freedom," I said evenly, pointing to the bags. "You're right, no one owns you, so go live how you want." Her eyes widened, mouth opening but no words coming out. For the first time in our relationship, Hannah was speechless. When the Uber pulled up downstairs, I carried the bags to the door. She hesitated, looking between me and the street outside. Finally, with trembling hands, she grabbed her purse and walked out. I shut the door behind her. For the first time in months, the silence in my apartment felt peaceful. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of missed calls and texts from Hannah. Some were angry, some were pleading, some just confused. "Are you serious? You actually kicked me out?" Then another, "Fine, I don't need you anyway." I didn't respond. For the first time in years, I felt no obligation to fix things. I poured myself coffee, opened the blinds, and just enjoyed the quiet. No arguing, no sarcastic remarks, no tension, just me. By afternoon, I got a call not from Hannah, but from her mom that caught me off guard. "Is it true?" Her tone was sharp, but underneath it, I heard worry. "Depends what she told you," I replied. "She showed up here last night with bags, crying about how you threw her out." "What happened?" I let out a breath. "She told me no one owns her, that she could leave any time. So I gave her the chance." I didn't want to keep holding on to someone who clearly didn't want to be here. Silence. Lingered on the line for a moment before her mom spoke again. "You know, I warned her once that her mouth would get her into trouble. She doesn't like being told she's wrong." That surprised me. It was the first time anyone in Hannah's circle had admitted she wasn't perfect. Still, I didn't gloat. I just said she wanted freedom. I let her have it. Over the next week, Hannah's tough act crumbled fast. Out! Without her things at my place, she had no safety net. She hadn't saved much money, always preferring to spend on clothes, spa days, or spontaneous trips. Living with her mom again at 29 wasn't the glamorous freedom she pictured. Meanwhile, I started rebuilding my routine. Work, gym, dinners with friends I hadn't seen much lately. They noticed how much lighter I seemed. One buddy even said, "Man, you look 10 years younger. What happened?" I just laughed, let go of dead weight. But Hannah wasn't letting go. She started texting me constantly. Screenshots of memories from our trips, pictures of her crying, long paragraphs about how she'd been joking or just testing me. I didn't bite. Every time I thought about replying, I remembered that night, the smug look on her face when she told me she could leave whenever she wanted. She meant it. I finally realized I should too. Then came the kicker. 2 weeks later, one of her friends messaged me on Instagram. "She's been telling everyone you begged her to come back. Just wanted you to know." I laughed out loud at my desk. Begged her back? She was the one blowing up my phone at all hours. It was classic Hannah trying to spin the story so she didn't look abandoned. That night she called again. This time, I picked up. She sounded wrecked. "Why are you doing this to me?" "I thought you loved me." I paused, choosing my words carefully. "I did love you, but love isn't about ownership, Hannah. It's about respect. And you made it clear you didn't respect me or us, so I gave you what you wanted, freedom." Her sobs on the other end told me reality had finally hit. After that phone call, Hannah went radio silent for about a week. No texts, no calls, nothing. For a moment, I thought maybe she had finally accepted things and moved on. Then the Instagram posts started. Selfies with captions like "living my best life," "no man needed," or "freedom never felt so good." She posed at bars with random people, tagging them as her new crew. I scrolled past them, shaking my head. It was so transparent. Friends sent me screenshots. "Dude, she's really trying hard to convince people she's okay," I replied with a shrug emoji. Because honestly, it didn't bother me anymore. She wanted to turn social media into her therapy. Fine. That was her business. But then came the first real crack. I was at dinner with a colleague when my phone buzzed with a notification. Hannah had tagged me in a story. Against my better judgment, I tapped it. It was a video of her laughing at some bar, shouting over music. See, he thought I'd fall apart without him. Guess who's thriving? Except the camera panned too far and caught her drink spilling all over her dress. The comments underneath weren't kind. Strangers laughed at her. Friends told her to go home. Within an hour, she deleted it. The next day, she texted me, "Ignore last night. I just wanted you to see I'm doing fine." I didn't answer, because if you're truly fine, you don't need to broadcast it to your ex. A few days later, I got word from a mutual friend that Hannah had tried to upgrade her freedom by going on a date with some guy she met at the gym. She apparently spent the whole night talking about me, how I overreacted, how I couldn't handle her independence. The guy bailed before dessert. That same friend called me afterward. "Man, she's unraveling. I don't know if she realizes how bad she looks," I sighed. She'll figure it out eventually. Or she won't. Either way, not my problem. But deep down, I couldn't help feeling a mix of pity and vindication. She had thrown away stability, love, and a home because she thought freedom meant doing whatever she wanted without consequence. She was finding out that freedom also meant standing alone when things got hard. One night around 2 a.m., my phone lit up with another call from Hannah. Against my better judgment, I answered. Her voice was slurred. "You were supposed to fight for me. That's what real men do. They don't just let go." I kept my voice steady. "You're confusing love with control. You wanted freedom, Hannah? You demanded it. All I did was respect your wish." There was silence, then muffled crying. Finally, she whispered, "I didn't think you'd actually let me go." I hung up because by then, I knew her meltdown wasn't my responsibility anymore. 2 weeks later, I came home from work and nearly dropped my keys. When I saw her car parked in front of my building, Hannah was leaning against the hood, arms crossed, eyes red-rimmed, but still defiant. She straightened the second she saw me. "We need to talk." I sighed. "Hannah, there's nothing left to say." She shook her head like I was a stubborn child. "Of course there is. You don't just throw away 3 years because of one fight." One fight. I almost laughed. That wasn't one fight, Hannah. That was years of you pushing boundaries, mocking my feelings, pretending commitment was a leash. Cabo was just the straw that broke it. Her lip trembled, but she forced a smirk. "You're being dramatic." "Look, I'm sorry." "Okay." I didn't mean half the things I said. I was scared of losing myself. Bye. But I don't want to lose you either. The old me might have folded at that, her tears, her half-apologies. But I didn't feel pulled in anymore. Something in me had shut off the night I packed her bags. "I already let you go, Hannah," I said quietly. Her eyes flashed with panic. "You're seeing someone else, aren't you?" I shook my head. No, I'm just living. And you should be too. But Hannah wasn't ready to let go. Over the next few days, she tried everything. Flowers left at my door. Long text messages about our good times. Voicemails where her voice cracked mid-sentence. Then came the stunt that sealed it. I was in a meeting when my receptionist buzzed me. There's a woman here insisting my stomach dropped. I walked to the lobby, and there was Hannah standing in front of my coworkers, holding out a homemade poster board plastered with photos of us, like some rom-com gone wrong. The silence was unbearable. My boss raised an eyebrow. A client actually chuckled. Hannah looked at me, wide-eyed, expecting a grand reconciliation. Instead, I gently took the poster from her hands, folded it in half, and said, "This isn't the place. And we're not those people anymore." Her face crumbled. She spun on her heel and stormed out, muttering curses under her breath. The elevator doors closed behind her, leaving everyone in the lobby staring at me. I took a deep breath, turned back to my colleagues, and said, "Sorry about that. Let's get back to work." But inside I knew something had shifted permanently. Hannah wasn't chasing love anymore. She was chasing control, and the harder she tried, the clearer it became. I wasn't hers to control. Not anymore. Word about Hannah's stunt at my office traveled faster than I expected. A colleague told me later that one of the clients had mentioned it at a networking event. "Your ex put on quite the show," I cringed, but instead of embarrassment, I felt strangely detached. It wasn't my circus anymore, but for Hannah, it was. Her friends, the same ones she had flaunted on social media during her "I'm free now" phase, started pulling back. I know because one of them, Rachel, who I always thought was level-headed, sent me a message out of the blue. "Hey, just so you know, I had no idea she was going to do that at your office. None of us did. Honestly, we're kind of done being dragged into her drama. She's exhausting." That hit me harder than I expected. It's not out of sympathy, but because it confirmed what I'd been seeing all along. Hannah was pushing everyone away, not just me. Her freedom posts dried up on Instagram. The bar selfies disappeared. In their place were vague, moody captions like "no one ever stays," and sometimes I wonder if love is even real. I scrolled through them one night, and instead of anger or even pity, I felt nothing, just closure. Apparently her friends didn't share that neutrality. They stopped liking her posts. A couple even unfollowed her. It was like watching a slow-motion unraveling of the very social circle she'd clung to when she pushed me out. Then came the call from her mom. "Why'd you let her do this to herself?" the older woman demanded, voice sharp but weary. I kept my tone calm. "With all respect, ma'am, I didn't let her do anything. She made choices." I just stepped back. Her mom sighed, a long, heavy sound. "She told us you blindsided her, that you moved out without warning." "I told her I couldn't handle being dismissed anymore," I replied. "She told me she didn't need my permission for anything. So I gave her what she wanted." There was silence on the line. Then a soft, almost reluctant, "Maybe she needed to learn." And with that, the conversation ended. The next time I saw Hannah, it was by accident. Grocery store, late at night. She was in sweatpants, hair pulled back, no makeup. Her cart had a frozen pizza and a bottle of cheap wine. She froze when she saw me. For a second, I thought she might say something, maybe make another plea or throw an insult. Instead, she just looked down, pushed her cart past me, and walked out. That was the first time I realized she'd run out of moves. Her friends were gone. Her image was cracked. Her confidence had deflated, and all I felt was relief. Because for the first time in years, Hannah's chaos wasn't mine to carry. It was a quiet Sunday morning when I got her last message. A wall of text lit up my phone, paragraphs of apologies, justifications, and pleas all rolled into one. I didn't mean it when I said those things. I was scared. I thought independence meant pushing you away, but it doesn't. It means finding balance. I see that now. Please, just give me one more chance. We can fix this. I'll do whatever it takes. I read the whole thing twice. Not because I was tempted, but because I wanted to be sure there wasn't anything new. There wasn't. It was the same song she'd been singing for months, remorse laced with excuses. For a moment I stared at the blinking cursor, debating a reply. Then I typed out 6 words. "I hope you find your peace." and hit send. No promises, no open doors, no soft landing, just closure. Later that week, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that she had tried one last stunt showing. Up at the restaurant where we used to have date nights, she apparently sat at our old table, ordered our usual, and cried when she realized I wasn't coming. Her friends didn't join her, her family didn't either. That's when it finally hit her. I wasn't going to rescue her anymore. As for me, my life moved forward in a way I never imagined. With Hannah gone, I discovered how much mental space she'd been taking up. My evenings were quieter, my sleep deeper, my thoughts clearer. I started hitting the gym regularly again, picked up a new hobby, even started reconnecting with people I distanced myself from during the relationship. One night, a colleague invited me to a small dinner party. Nothing fancy, just good food and better company. That's where I met someone new, someone who didn't mock me when I stumbled telling a story, who didn't roll her eyes when I talked about my goals. She listened, really listened. And for the first time in a long while, I felt seen. I'm not saying it was love at first sight or that I jumped into anything right away, but it was a reminder that respect and kindness still exist, that I hadn't been asking for too much all along. Months later, when I ran into Hannah's brother at a coffee shop, he told me she had finally moved back in with her parents. "She's figuring things out," he said carefully, like he didn't want to reveal too much. I just nodded. Because the truth is, I didn't need the details. Her journey was no longer mine to track. Walking home with my coffee, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Hannah once said, "I could leave you any time. No one owns me." Turns out she was right. No one owned her. And no one owned me either. Freedom cuts both ways. When I finally embraced mine, I found something better than control or chaos. Found clarity. And that, more than anything, left me speechless in the best way possible. If you've made it this far, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.